it over there now and kind of moving to... It looks like it's almost kind of being hurled at the police, or not exactly hurled, but it's being used as a sort of battering ram to try to get through that police line. And as the camera comes wider from our helitaler, there you see they've got they are across the road from the Houses of Parliament. There you've got the Church St Margaret's there, and if you come round, as you can see Big Ben, and then you've got the river down there. So you get a real sense of the geography of where these protesters are. And, so 150 yards from where the protesters are, you've got the Commons chamber, where the debate is going on, where the MPs are speaking, and I think, well, let's go in and have a listen to some of that debate while thousands, tens of thousands, are outside the Palace of Westminster.
I'm sure you will read between the lines of what I'm saying, that this is the right way to go about managing third-level education. We're not persuaded that these measures will improve higher education access, or improve access to those, particularly those in the margins. The fallout for Northern Ireland, we must oppose these measures, not knowing what the fallout for Northern Ireland should be. And we believe we set a good quality, third-level education as a matter of highest priority. We believe the future of the high-tech, high-value-added economy that we want to see built in Northern Ireland can only be delivered through a high standard of third-level education that is accessible to all. Again, I repeat, particularly the bright young people from disadvantaged backgrounds who struggle already to enter third-level education. This will further cut them off. The current government will cut spending on higher education and face the burden of payment on future generations of students who will be left facing mountainous debts as they begin their careers. Debt that they will spend much of their lives clearing. And I can only think, I myself at one stage was a medical student, and I can't see any medical student now emerging, or as some honourable member mentioned earlier, architectural students now emerging with debt less than £100,000. There's also a problem with the educational maintenance allowances, and these are being withdrawn, and this will massively compound the crisis for many who are already impoverished. Many of our poorest people, our poorest students coming in, they will forgo any option. The threat of the debt will be much too high. We believe that the proposed increases to student fees run counter to the vision that we have third-level education, that we have for third-level education, and we will therefore oppose the proposal later today.
Andrew Percy.
Mr. Speaker, this has not been the easiest of weeks as I have wrestled with what to me is an incredibly important issue. But at the end of the day, we are all the sum total of our experiences and our backgrounds. And I have to say to the Honourable Gentleman for Sheffield Brightside, I felt his intervention earlier was frankly outrageous to suggest that there are people on this side who don't understand.
Well, we're going to leave that debate there as we go back to our correspondents who are on the ground for you. We can talk to Mike Sargent, who we believe is in Parliament Square, pretty much right in the middle of where we're seeing these skirmishes now. Mike, just describe what's happening where you are.
Yeah, that's right. I'm standing in Parliament Square in the middle of the main protest. And within the last few minutes, we've seen some of the protesters pick up some of the barriers, try to push them towards the police lines. We've seen other people trying to kick at the barriers, a few objects being thrown occasionally, bits of wood from the placards hurled towards the line of police officers that is right along the edge of Parliament. So the protesters are very close to the Palace of Westminster here, but the police have a lot of force protecting that building. A line of riot police, other officers behind them inside the building, so they feel they've got the building very well protected at the moment. But thousands of protesters are still here in Parliament Square, most of them simply coming, holding their placards, shouting their slogans. They want to make a very strong political argument today, but a minority, I would say, have come to light fires, throw objects, charge against the police line when the opportunity presents itself. Some people have just climbed up a tree near here, others have been climbing on the statue of Churchill just over to my right. So a lot of activity here in Parliament Square, and the original plan that the protesters had agreed with the police is that they would come into Parliament Square in their thousands, march past here, and and then hold their main rally down on the embankment. Now, the student protesters that have gathered here, clearly they know that the debate is going on inside there. The vote on fees is not that far away, and most of them will want to stay as close to Parliament as possible so they can make their argument as loudly and as forcefully as they can on this a decisive day for the student campaign.
And Mike, how do you describe the mood there? We know that the police are planning for the worst case scenarios we've seen in the last hour. More pushing, more shoving. I mean, are tensions mounting as we get towards the vote?
Tax the bankers, not the people. Right. I mean, some people clearly will be very angry here today, and we see that. But it's always difficult when people ask, what is the mood of a protest when there are possibly tens of thousands of people here? Because some are very jolly, some people we've seen this morning are singing, they're laughing. They are here, yes, to make their case on tuition fees, to put their argument to the politicians inside there, but others are more angry. They're incensed about what is going on. They want to put their case much more forcefully, and of course, as well as that, as the police have been indicating all along, there will be those who come along today to infiltrate the protest, to come specifically with the aim of causing trouble. Now, we don't know how many there might fall into that category, but we've certainly seen a few scuffles here today. Now, just behind me, a little bit of activity. As when you get these fires burning in the middle of protests, occasionally people throw things onto them, sometimes cigarette lighters, sometimes fireworks. So you get small explosions that go off from time to time. That's what we saw on the first protest down at Millbank, and the second one when the protesters were corralled and kept in Whitehall. And we see that starting to happen here today as the protesters have taken over Parliament Square. They don't seem in any mood to move on from here. The police will feel at the moment that they have Westminster, the Palace of Westminster itself, well protected, and they're not making an effort to move the protesters out of Parliament Square at the moment. So this is where they've gathered. One or two objects being thrown towards the police line, bits of wood, some other small objects. Just placards have been set fire to. I can see one or two other small objects burning in the middle of Parliament Square. And the people who are holding those placards that are blazing, I don't know whether you can see as far as that, or whether you've got another shot, but they tend to have their faces covered up, so the police can't identify them either at the scene or from footage that they take here and then try to piece together later on who the police perceive to be some of the troublemakers. That when you get at a gathering as large as this, with as much build-up as has happened ahead of this key vote and key political day, some people will come not with the aim simply of making their case, making their argument, chanting their slogans, but they will come with a slightly more aggressive agenda.
OK, Mike, will you stay where you are, keep reporting for us, and we'll get back to you shortly. Mike Sargent there in Parliament Square for us.